There are 7 things that I wish I knew before I started selling on Etsy. And these are very essential tips if you're a beginner first getting started on the platform. So remember to subscribe first before we get started, because I have a ton more videos coming out about Etsy, e-commerce in general, passive income, and all that good stuff. So here we go. Number 1, start your own website. The reason why you should start your own website before you even start on Etsy to begin with is because you can advertise your own company on Etsy. So basically what you're doing is you have a free promotion on Etsy and the Etsy name of your shop, so people can go to your own website and you can earn even more money on there, because, you know, people would just see, oh, so-and-so is selling like a coffee mug for a lot less on a website, and you have to charge even more on Etsy because of all the high fees and all that stuff. And that is another essential tip that I wanted to give you guys, is that the fees on Etsy are tremendously large. You might have a little bit of a shock when you first see how much Etsy is charging you for these fees. So now you need to be able to charge a little bit more so your profit margins are high enough so you're making money on the particular item that you're selling on Etsy. Another huge tip that I wish I knew when I first started selling on Etsy is that you can actually get free listings. Up to 40 free listings when you first start selling on the platform. In fact, you can even get a reference link and you can get, you know, more and more listings, free listings that is, when you're selling on Etsy, and you can accumulate hundreds of these free listings. Listings on Etsy, you know, cost 20 cents per, you know, item that you sell. That can add up to be a lot of money. You know, 20 cents, you know, every single time you list, and you list like 1,000 items, that's a lot of money that that you can be saving just by having this certain link. So this tip is also for veterans of Etsy. You can still continue to accumulate free listings on Etsy with this reference link as well. So the partner that you're, you know, giving this reference link to gets 40 free listings, and you get 40 free listings. You know, it kind of goes both ways with it. Next tip that I would give everyone out there selling on Etsy is to collect emails. Every single time you make a sale on Etsy, then you actually get an email from the buyer that you're selling from. And this is a tip that Etsy does not want you to know about. All you need to do is make a Word or a Google Doc. Every single time you make a sale on Etsy, just copy and paste all those emails that you're getting when you're making those sales. So when the time comes, then you can actually have a huge email list. So when you have that small business and you're selling outside of Etsy, you can have a huge email list from when you accumulate these sales. If you start to be a veteran on Etsy and you accumulate 73,000, you know, sales on the platform, that's 73,000 emails that you can send out to people for, you know, on your own website when the time comes, you know, to when you're selling off the site. And believe me, guys and ladies out there, you're going to want those emails, you know, because one day you're definitely going to want to sell off of Etsy. Etsy charges a lot for their fees, and when you're selling off Shopify or your own website, whatever that may be, then that email list is essential. You're getting free traffic to the website just by having those emails. 73,000 emails, that's like, you know, $50,000 to $600,000 potentially if you collect enough emails from when you make sales off of Etsy. And of course, it's a ripple effect. You know, those friends tell other friends to go to your website and buy from, you know, you directly instead of just Etsy itself. The next tip may sound a little silly, but this definitely was something that I, you know, can personally relate to. If I just get started on something, I get a little nervous or I get a little scared. So when I first started selling on Etsy, I was terrified, to be honest with you. And that's my next tip, is don't be afraid to get started. It's okay to be a little scared. You know, when you're first trying to sell on Etsy and trying to put your product out there that you work so hard on for the world. But listen, guys, and ladies, don't be afraid to get started. It's going to be okay. Trust me. You know, as long as you offer a great product, then you're going to, you know, make a ton of money on this platform. It's one of the best platforms, of course, in e-commerce. And when you're selling on this platform, trust me, it is so much better in the long run for you guys and ladies just to get started selling on here. The next tip, I've actually talked more in depth about this in a previous video, so remember to like and subscribe also for that one. And so without further ado, the next advice I would give you, do everything you can to make those first 10 sales. This is so essential. This is one of the most essential things that you can ever do on the platform on Etsy, is to make those first 10, 20, 50 to 100 sales, to keep on accumulating growth on your particular store that you have on Etsy. There's a big reason for this, is because it builds trust. And that also, leads to my next point, and that is to get great reviews. This is one of the biggest. To get great reviews, to get 5-star reviews, is such an essential role into you selling on Etsy and to you making the most money on Etsy. And that's another tip, is to sell the best products that you possibly can on Etsy, the best quality products. This is essential. People like myself, as a customer and as a seller, I go to Etsy for the best quality products. If you don't want the best quality products, then you go somewhere else. Etsy is for the best quality, and that is an essential tip. And that is something that I wish I knew before I started selling on Etsy. There was a time when I wasn't selling maybe the best products that I could have, but I learned, I adjusted, and I made sure that I sold the best quality products, and my reviews skyrocketed to 5 stars instead of just 3 or 4 stars. The next tip is choose one niche. I would definitely choose just one thing that you're trying to sell. Let's just say you're selling stickers. Stick to selling stickers. Or if you're selling signs, I would just sell signs on one particular store on Etsy. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have to sell other stuff on Etsy. Like if you want to sell art and you want to sell signs, what I would do is I would simply just open another store for art and another store for signs, and you have two niche stores right there. If you're all over the place on Etsy and you're selling art and you're selling t-shirts and you're selling stickers and you're selling, just all over the place, just all different items, the customer may not come back and the customer may not associate with you with a certain product that you're selling. So I think it's very important to just stick to one niche in one particular store. It doesn't mean you don't have to, you can't open multiple stores to sell multiple, different items, but I would just sell one particular niche item on one store that you are trying to sell from. The next tip is another essential one here: to provide the best customer service you possibly can on Etsy, because Etsy is all about communication with the buyer. And that is one of the reasons why I absolutely love selling on Etsy, is to communicate with your buyer directly and to provide the best customer service you possibly can. If you provide the best customer service that you possibly can, the buyer is going to leave even better reviews for you. So that is an essential tip to selling on Etsy. And I would definitely respond to the customer, within, the first, hour to 2 hours, just to provide a good communication tactic and a good habit when you're, trying to sell on Etsy. The next and final tip is when you sell an item, especially when you're a new seller to Etsy, is to ship the item out as quickly as you possibly can. So that way the customer receives tracking, everything is fine, there's no, communication back and forth, where's my item, what's going on. Just keep the buyer informed and to try to sell the item and get the item out as quickly as you possibly can, so there's no confusion with you and the buyer. And it also boosts your chances of getting a 5-star review a heck of a lot more if you get the item out as soon as possible. That is essential here. So I provided a heck of a lot in this video. Those are a ton of great tips. And so remember to like and subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to provide all the secrets of selling on Etsy on my channel. So thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. And remember again to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you, everyone.